On this all-new episode of Primetime Panthers, we take a deeper look at Team USA ahead of the upcoming Four Nations face-off.
Each nation is going to announce the first 6 players on June 28th.
This is something that we've been waiting for a long time.
The talent level is through the roof.
Everybody on this team is a star.
Katie Engleson sits down with Panthers GM Bill Zito.
Anytime you have an opportunity to be part of Team USA or any activity surrounding it, it's an honor, it's a privilege, it's exciting.
And Matthew Tkachuk.
So many different things, the chance to represent your country. When you put that jersey on, it's like the most special feeling ever. Get a chance to play with my brother and teammates that I haven't played with for a long time.
As both gear up for puck drop in Montreal. All of that and more this week on Primetime Panthers. Primetime Panthers is presented by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys.
Welcome into this all-new episode of Primetime Panthers. I'm your host, Katie Engleson. On this week's episode, we are highlighting the Four Nations Face-Off Tournament and specifically Team USA as we are just a few weeks out from the tournament. Everyone in South Florida knows what General Manager Bill Zito is capable of, so it is no surprise that he was named an Assistant General Manager for Team USA. I had the opportunity to sit down with Zito earlier and discuss what this honor means to him. Well, Bill, we are just weeks out from the Four Nations Face-Off Tournament, and you'll be representing the Panthers as an Assistant General Manager for Team USA. How would you put into words this honor for you personally?
That's hard. It's difficult on a few different levels. As an American who grew up, I'm 60, so the defining moment for American ice hockey for me was truly the Miracle on Ice. And people who are associated with the game, really at any level, on that day, it's one of those where, I can tell you where I was. I was at David Riley's house, and his brother Paul was actually at the game, his older brother, and kept calling us because the game that evening was on tape delay, at least in Wisconsin, it wasn't live. So we knew, and then we got all excited to watch it. And So anytime you have an opportunity to be part of Team USA or any activity surrounding it, it's an honor, it's a privilege, it's exciting. For someone who did not participate as a player, it's even more exciting, I think. And to work with Billy Guerin it's a very special thing for me. I've known him a long, long time. And I remember where I was when he called me. And I was pretty excited, like a little kid, like you made the varsity. So all good feelings and pretty significant challenge.
You mentioned Bill Guerin. How would you describe the process of constructing the roster with him and the rest of the staff?
Very thorough, very open, opinions welcomed, conflict welcomed. And really a collaborative effort between the staff with everybody. It's an awkward situation to be in because of the fact that, name a player, make one up, it doesn't matter, Joe Blow. I don't want them to know what I think of Joe Blow, but everybody sets aside their agendas for the collective good. And that part, in my mind, was unquestioned. The character of the people. So it was great to have those real substantive hockey interactions, and I learned quite a bit.
What is the biggest thing that you learned during that process?
I would say a different perspective from which to view the totality of the situation. Short tournament this year, Olympics next year. The impact it's going to have that this season already has had on these players. And then what role do you want players to perform for this team, and how might that role change moving forward? Those are 3 that just jump out at me.
Time for our first break here on Primetime Panthers. Coming up next, Katie catches up with Panthers forward Matthew Tkachuk to talk about the upcoming Four Nations face-off.
I think for Brady and myself, like, we've never really gotten a chance to play with each other. So this is that first opportunity to be like in the locker room together, travel together, just everything. And we're super excited and dreaming of this moment.
Keep it locked. Primetime Panthers on Scripps Sports. We'll be right back.
During this three-game winning streak, Matthew Tkachuk saw a little chippiness. Oh, Tkachuk, the reverse hit on Sandberg. Wow, was that something?
He's an emotional leader for the Florida Panthers. Physical, getting under the opponent's skin.
Tkachuk, the hit on McDavid at the Panther bench. Now Tkachuk's got two on him. Tied up with the goalie stick, and Tkachuk goes down. Tkachuk gives Varlamov a shot. He's without a stick. Put out in front. Oh, it's right at the net, and they score! Tkachuk moves in and fires, and they score! Power play goal! Chuck along the boards, takes the shot, score! Panthers hold in with 30 to go in the period. Here's Verhaeghe again, shooting, deflected, score! Markov in front, Tkachuk, and they score! At the buzzer, it's good! Takes the shot, score! It's in! Matthew Tkachuk again!
Back-to-back 4-point nights for Matthew Tkachuk.
Welcome back to Primetime Panthers. I'm Katie Engleson. Matthew Tkachuk is an incredible leader both on and off the ice, so it was no surprise that Tkachuk was selected to represent the USA at the Four Nations Face-Off Tournament. I sat down with Tkachuk earlier this week to talk about what this honor means to him. Matthew, we're just a few weeks out from the Four Nations Face-Off Tournament. How would you put into words this honor of getting to represent your country?
Oh, I mean, it's been my first time, or it is my first time since I've been an NHL player being able to represent the United States. So I'm like just over the moon excited. So many different things, the chance to represent your country. When you put that jersey on, it's like the most special feeling ever. Get a chance to play with my brother and teammates that I haven't played with for a long time. So there's a lot to get up for this 2-week tournament, and just a chance to represent my country at the highest level is going to be awesome.
You mentioned having the opportunity to play alongside your brother Brady. What excites you most about that opportunity?
I think the family is just, it's more for like my family. Like, this is such a incredible feat for like brothers to make it at this level. Like, I know us are going to be there, the Hughes are going to be there. But I think for Brady and myself, like, we've never really gotten a chance to play with each other. So this is that first opportunity to be like in the locker room together, travel together, just everything. And we're super excited. We've been dreaming of this moment. And we knew it was probably going to be tough, during the regular season to team up on the same team. So we always set our goal as to play for the United States together. It's coming true.
You mentioned some other familiar faces that you'll get to have the opportunity to play with. Who are you most excited about reuniting with, if there's anyone in particular?
Well, it's been years since I've played with Austin and Charlie, but we kind of grew up together through the U.S. program. So I'm super excited to play with them. I'm really excited to play with the Hughes brothers as well. We're super tight with them, our family and theirs. So, there's so many guys. We've crossed paths with Eichel. He's a star in the league. I've always had trouble scoring on Hellebuck, so I'm happy to be on his side now. And, there's just so many players that I'm jacked up to play with. And I'm not gonna lie, like, we're this close, and the anticipation is starting to, take over me a little bit. It's hard to focus just thinking about that, but we're all just really, really excited.
Team USA obviously has a multitude of talented players. How do you think your team stacks up to the rest?
I mean, it's hard to say. I'm sure if you ask each team, we all believe that, we are all the best team there. So it's going to be very competitive. It's going to be, I think, more intense than people think. As hard-nosed as, maybe a playoff game or a Game 7, because they're all Game 7. So, and like going back to, I said it a bunch, but it's all of our first times playing this, other than, the Crosbys and maybe a couple of those older guys like Hedman. But so all the young guys, this is their first opportunity. Like, we're going to be skating around a million miles an hour, hitting everything, and just probably overly excited.
The Florida Panthers have the most players of any NHL team that will be playing in the tournament. What do you think that says about what's been established and built here in South Florida?
I think it just shows how deep we are, and it shows how much we push each other. I mean, it's hard to say because we have so many guys that are such talented players, but I think that their work ethic, overrides all that, which speaks highly to what we have here. It's kind of a culture thing here. It doesn't matter how skilled you are, how good your name looks on paper. Like, you have to outwork that. You have to outwork the next guy. I mean, our practices are so intense, going up against each other every rep. So I think, we've just continued to grow as players as the years have gone by. Since I know I can say that these guys have made me a lot better of a player just going up against them. So I think we all push each other, and that helps.
And lastly, Sam Bennett did say there was a little bit of chirping going on. What can you say about some of the maybe trash talking or comments that have taken place?
I really haven't chirped anybody. Just keep saying I'm gonna chip it into Forsey's corner. I guess that's the only thing I've said. But no, planning on obviously being best friends like I am with these guys up until that 2 weeks, and then when I'm there, we'll be trying to avoid them and won't even look at them. So it's gonna be that's how everybody's going. It's gonna be a very intense tournament, and we're all gonna be trying to win.
Tkachuk, ka-ching!
Time for a short break here on Primetime Panthers. Coming up next, more of our conversation with General Manager Bill Zito. Primetime Panthers is presented by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Take back control of your life. Call 1-800-747-FREE. Don't go anywhere. Primetime Panthers will be right back. Welcome back to Primetime Panthers. Matthew Tkachuk was a born leader. Being selected to represent Team USA was an easy choice for both Bill Guerin and Bill Zito. We continue our conversation with the Panthers general manager about Matthew Tkachuk and the rest of the Team USA roster.
One of the players that will be representing the Panthers on Team USA is Matthew Tkachuk. How would you describe the ambassador that he's become for the National Hockey League?
I think the funnest, and it's a simple word, but it fits the situation perfectly. If we define fun as somebody who loves the game and understands his role. So I see it very, very similar, is that you have a guy who's uniquely talented, who hates to lose and wants to win, and understands who he is and where he is in the moment. He gets it. And so that makes for a pretty powerful combination of attributes to lead, right? And use the perfect word, to be an ambassador of the sport. And Matthew's become that.
There's, of course, a lot of pressure on Team Canada. Do you feel pressure just considering how much hockey has grown in the United States?
No, I'm probably a little different because it's such an interesting opportunity. Now, I can tell you that as general manager of 2 World Championships, yeah, you did then feel the pressure because you wanted so desperately to win. That part will come in due time. Today, no. Today, I think we're more excited. It's going to be a wonderful tournament, and the league has gone to extraordinary measures to make sure that it's first class, that it's run well, and that it's full of energy, and the venues are going to be great, the fans, everything. It's pretty exciting.
Florida has 8 players that will be playing in the tournament, the most of any NHL team. What does that say about what has been built here in South Florida? Well, I think first we have to go to the individuals, right? Because they've earned it and they've done the work. It would be wonderful to take credit as an architect and say, oh, what's been built, but they are the artisans. It was Michelangelo who painted the ceiling of the church, right? I don't know who the architect was, right? But with that said, I think our staff can take pride in the work that they've done in assembling people, who've managed to be recognized and be part of their national teams. We have 8 players. I think we have 6 staff.
Myself, Teddy Richards will be equipment manager for Team USA. Patrick Hornquist will be GM in Sweden. Miles Fee will work for Team Sweden. Horny, that was a good pickup by Horny. Tuomo Ruutu was on the coaching staff for Finland, and Gregory Campbell had done some scouting for Team Canada. So it's nice. It's nice and it's special. At the same time, it becomes daunting. For example, you dress 20 players, 2 of them are goaltenders. Had we had one more player named, that would be 9 of 18 skaters. Half our team is playing during this break. We've played more hockey games than any other team in the league over the past 2 seasons. And now all of a sudden half our team is playing in this extended break when we really could use the rest. So it's a challenge. It's not an obstacle, it's just a challenge. But it's something that certainly has been discussed, will continue to be discussed and nuanced, and we'll figure our way through it.
You mentioned how challenging that can be considering 2 short off seasons and now this tournament. What is the biggest challenge that poses in your mind just when you look at the rest of this season as we get closer to the playoffs?
Just managing the natural physical, mental, and emotional fatigue that can happen. It's an awful lot of hockey. This particular brand of hockey will be intense, exciting. I mean, it's just like game 1's a playoff game. So now you are putting these guys through an exercise where they have to elevate things. But I'm also pretty confident a lot of good things can come from it, and special things that would not flow back to our team. So boys maybe need to get some sleep.
Well, Bill, there's a lot of talk about how the Florida Panthers have become this destination franchise where players want to come here and take their talents, but it's also a place where so many players have been able to flourish and elevate their game. Why do you think that is?
I think it probably stems from the collective. If we had gone back a few years and projected 3 years from now, would all these Panther players from wherever they were at the time be candidates to be on their national teams? I think Sasha, of course, probably would, and Matthew. But some of these other guys came here, Mikkola, Luosterainen got into the system. Anton was young, now he's in the system. Both Sams, right? And then they got the opportunity to be with this group, and it was almost like they all helped each other pull the best parts of each other's game out. So that's an exciting element.
Time for our last break here on Primetime Panthers. Coming up next, we give you a behind-the-scenes look at the early stages of the Team USA roster construction.
One of the questions we asked was, what's our competitive advantage? And then what do we value? What does it mean to be an American? Well, we talked about work ethic, resilience, courage, and care for your teammates. And those are American values.
Don't touch that dial. Primetime Panthers on Scripps Sports. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Primetime Panthers. With the Four Nations face-off just a few weeks away, the rosters for each country have been set. The construction of each team takes careful consideration, as the talent pool to pick from is understandably large. Here's a behind-the-scenes look at some of the discussions by Team USA's management group.
Next season, we'll take a little break for the Four Nations tournament.
This is a great stage for the best on best in what we all believe is the best sport.
Bill Guerin has been named General Manager of Team USA for the 2025 Four Nations Face-Off.
This is the opportunity of a lifetime.
Each nation is going to announce the first 6 players on June 28th.
This is something that we've been waiting for a long time.
The talent level is through the roof.
Everybody on this team is a star.
At any level to represent your country, it's a big honor.
Every team is going to have great players.
Four Nations is a dream come true.
There's going to be some very difficult decisions. It is a great challenge to have.
These are short tournaments. There's no practice time. We need the buy-in. We need guys to accept roles. We hit the ground running, and it's game time. We have to name 6 players. I invited everybody to Minnesota. I felt it was really important that we get together in person. We'll do the best we can in narrowing it down. It's not going to be easy. Thanks again, fellas, for making the trip in. What are your thoughts on the first 6 here?
One of the questions we asked was, what's our competitive advantage? And then what do we value? What does it mean to be an American? We talked about work ethic, resilience, courage, and care for your teammates. And those are American values.
Mike is a leader. He's crystal clear.
We're going to play with speed, with skill, and with will.
He gives it to you right between the eyes.
I look at a group that's going to play a 201-foot game. And that 1 foot being in all the intangibles that we're talking about. Who represents that for us?
We got to have guys that are willing to accept the role.
A willingness to sacrifice or pay the price to play the game a certain way. And checking your ego at the door. That's the 1 foot.
I think it's important from our standpoint to make sure that we become a team. And I think that's going to be the biggest challenge for all the respective nations that are participating in this tournament.
We all have different thoughts and opinions.
We're going to have to plug and play. Hockey IQ's got to be a priority.
The winning pedigree is important. This is the opportunity. This is the group here.
You got a lot of great players, right?
Mm-hmm.
What really matches that body of work? And I think sometimes...
What do you mean, what matches it?
Well, when we start talking about the guy versus his production.
We have enough players here, we can get both.
Yes.
We don't have to sacrifice something to get another thing. Yes. We have guys that deliver on both sides. We just had some great discussions.
This is a partnership in the true sense of the word between the management team and the coaching staff and the players.
We're excited about the guys that we're gonna name.
That does it for this week's episode of Primetime Panthers. Be sure to tune in next week as we highlight the Cats that will be representing Team Finland and Team Sweden at the Four Nations Face-Off Tournament in February. We'll see you all next week right here on Script Sports.
Primetime Panthers has been presented by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys.